Alright y'all, what is going on? We're back playing Flight Sim today. I am also playing with a new, well not new, brand new, but new to me. It is a Pro Flight yoke system from SciTech. And once we get in the air and get set up and get to our cruise altitude, then I will have a short conversation about how I came to have this SciTech yoke system. So today we're going to be flying just above South America here. I guess you could call it Central America. Is that what you call that? I'm not very good with geography. We're flying from MPCM up here to Marcos A. Jalabert International. I probably said that completely wrong, but oh well. And we're going to be passing by Howard Air Force Base, and also there are some points of interest over here that we can check out. There is Marriott Panama. Yeah, so I'm not even going to try to pronounce these. I'll just kind of show you what they are. There's 3 different towers, Panama City. So anyway, that's going to be our flight today. We're looking at 30 nautical miles, 22 minutes. I will go ahead and set our cruise altitude to, let's go to 30, well not 350,000. We'll go to 3,500 feet. And we'll go ahead and hop in here. We're flying the Cessna 172. We're going to change this to a GA ramp, and we're going to change this to a small GA ramp. GA is General Aviation. Alright, let's go ahead and hop in the sim, guys. So I've done a few flights with this Pro Flight yoke system. I did 1 or 2 flights, and then I actually did the rubber band mod to the yoke system. If you have a SciTech yoke system and you don't know what the rubber band mod is, go on YouTube and look it up. There's a bunch of different mods you can do to this yoke that make it handle a lot better than it does right out of the box. And I was really happy with it. It took me about 10 minutes to do the mod. It was really super easy. Basically, you just take the screws out of the bottom panel. The bottom panel comes off, and then you take out the spring that returns the yoke to the center point, because that spring is really kind of aggressive and it makes this big hump in the center point. And so when you're trying to make small adjustments around the center point of the yoke, it's really hard to make small adjustments with that big like hump in the middle, like a detent that keeps it centered. So you basically remove that and you replace it with rubber bands, and it has a little bit less resistance, and it's more like a real plane. I don't know what a yoke in a real plane feels like. I just have to go off of other people on the internet that are actual pilots. So, and again, it looks like we're set right up against this wall here. So unless we can get pushed back from this little guy, it's going to be hard to. This plane doesn't have a reverse thrust, so it's going to be hard to make this turn without hitting this building. So I'm going to hope that we can get pushed back here. Go ahead and hop in the plane. Here we are. This is what a Cessna 172 Skyhawk looks like on the inside. There's a couple more seats back there and a little cargo area. Alright, so let's go ahead and test our backup battery. It tests good. That green light is on. Go ahead and turn our battery master switches on. Avionic master switches on. Go ahead and dim that a little bit. I don't like them all that bright. Okay, now we can go ahead and get this side turned on here. We just need to push that little button there. Now we can zoom out a little bit and you can see our flight plan.
TOS system test. Okay.
Thank you, Betty. That's what everybody calls the that woman's voice in the plane when she yells at you or when she tells you things. A lot of people just call her Bitchy Betty. And actually, a fun fact about that, if you actually look it up on the internet, um, all of the military aircraft that have the voiceover, that woman's voice that comes over the plane and yells at you a lot, um, the voice that they actually used for that is a woman named Betty. I'm not sure if it's the same Betty in every plane, but I'm pretty sure it's in most of the military planes. Her name is actually Betty. She just recently passed away, and they wrote an article about her. So go look that up if you're interested. I'm going to change my CDI source to the GPS, so now we have our GPS loaded over here for our navigation. And let's see, what do we want to do next? Make sure our fuel is on. Fuel is on. We do have both the gas tanks selected. This plane automatically sources the fuel from whichever tank it needs to keep the plane's center of gravity. A lot of planes, when you use fuel, it sucks fuel from just one wing. The fuel is normally stored in the wings. And so if you suck all the fuel out of one wing, the plane will start to want to lean to that side because you took all the weight out of that wing. So a lot of planes, you have to pay attention to how much fuel is in each wing, and you have to keep switching from left to right tanks in order to keep your plane flying level so that you take the gas out of each wing equally. But this plane does it automatically. You can just select both tanks. So next thing I guess we want to do here is get our clearance before we start our engine. We are just flying VOR or VFR, Visual Flight Reference. So actually we don't need a IFR clearance or anything. We're just going to have to announce our takeoff and everything like that. So looks like we can go ahead and turn our beacon light on. We will turn pitot heat on, and that's all I'm going to do for now. Go ahead and start our engine here. Go ahead and introduce the fuel. Looks like we have a good engine start. You will see over here that we have oil temp, we have oil pressure, we have vacuum. You see our fuel quantity, our electrical voltages, all that looks good. So let's go ahead and tell them we are getting ready to taxi.
Mike Papa Charlie Mike traffic Windy Boy E2 is taxiing to runway 36.
Select a runway for takeoff. Looks like we are going to want to take off. Let's just go ahead and check here and look. It's easier this way. Looks like we're going to want to take off runway 36. Oh, it already said that. I missed that. Alright. Well, it doesn't look like we're going to get pushed back here because we didn't file an IFR plan. So it looks like I'm going to have to make this turn without hitting this building. It would help if I took the parking brake off first, wouldn't it? Okay. I'm doing this from the outside view just so I can try to not hit this building here. Oh, that's so close. I'm pretty sure we're scraping that, but I don't think the game is counting it. Oh, it is counting. We're stuck against the building now. That is ridiculous. my goodness, this is... Flight Sim really needs to fix this. How am I supposed to get out of this position in this plane? Am I supposed to just... This is ridiculous. If we restart, it's not going to help us do anything. We're going to have to go back to the main menu and reset this whole thing up. So, bear with me. Oh, jeez. Alright, so this was our arrival. This was our departure. We'll go ahead and do IFR this time, I guess. We'll go ahead and select a different GA ramp. And we're going to select low altitude airways. And we will just do whatever they tell us to do as far as our departure and arrival and all that. So that should be all we have to do. Go ahead and hop back in here and try this again. Looks like we're flying in a little bit of rain. Alright, this looks much better. Much better. Now we can get out of here. Ooh, look at that purple TBM. That's looking good. Alright, let's try this again. Battery masters on. Backup battery tests okay. Avionics on. Go ahead and turn the beacon on. Turn the pitot heat on. Go ahead and get this fired up. Go ahead and get that to stop beeping at me. Switch our CDI source again to GPS. Go ahead and zoom this out a little bit and pan over.
TOS system test okay.
Thank you, Betty. Alright, now we can see our flight plan here. Alright. I don't need this inset here. I like to turn that off. I like to set my wind to the option 2 on the PFD. So we're going to hit wind, option 2, and that puts my wind up here. Go back to that. Go back to that. Go ahead and get our transponder code up so that we can put that in when they give it to us. So now we have to tune the approach and get an IFR clearance. I figured since it was raining and cloudy, we might as well go IFR.
E2 is cleared to Gallibert Airport as filed.
Climb and maintain 3,000.
Departure frequency is 120.3, squawk 0364. Clearance void 30 minutes from now.
3,000 is set. We're going to acknowledge that. Squawk 0364.
Cleared to Gallibert Airport as filed. Climb and maintain 3,000 feet.
0364.
Departure is 120.3, squawk 0364. Clearance void 30 minutes from now.
We're going to go ahead and leave that on standby for now until we get moving here.
Correct.
Now we can tune the traffic. We are to taxi to... Well, if it's IFR, why is it not making me do taxi clearance? We're cleared as filed and everything, but it didn't give me a runway to take off. Huh. Okay. Well, I guess we can just announce taxi. Is it going to give us ground services this time? Can we get pushed back or what?
Mike Papa Charlie Mike traffic Windy Boy E2
Okay,
is
so we're going to
taxiing runway
36 again.
36.
Yeah, so it's still not giving us an option to get pushed back. And it's not giving us a taxi clearance either for IFR. I guess it's just because of the airport we're at. Okay, so again, both tanks selected, the fuel is on. That should be out. We have our beacon light on. Go ahead and get this thing going. We have oil pressure, we have a little bit of oil temp, everything over here looks good. Betty's not yelling at us, so I guess we should be good. So now I should not really have a problem getting out of here. And it looks like the runway, oh, wrong button. So yeah, it looks like that is the runway directly behind us. Alright, let's get going here. Not forget the parking brake this time. And we're clear this time. Let's see, are we gonna clear the TBM here? Yeah, plenty of room. Go ahead and turn our transponder on, turn the strobe lights on, turn the landing lights on. Alright, we are lined up here. Go ahead and get stopped here. Go ahead and turn the parking brake back on. I like to run my engine up before I release the parking brake so we can kind of, you know, launch this thing a little bit. That's just what I like to do. Alright, we have our wind. We're going to announce our takeoff now. We're going to be departing to the northeast. That's not an option. We're just going to say we're going east.
Mike Papa Charlie Mike traffic Windy Boy E2 taking off runway 36 east departure.
Alright. Let's go ahead and run it up a little bit and then we will release this parking brake. Parking brakes released. Now we're gonna go full power. Oh, I forgot to bring in a notch of flaps. Okay, we got one notch of flaps now coming in. Airspeed's alive, 50 knots, 60 knots. I'm gonna go ahead and rotate. And we are off. Go ahead and gain a little bit of altitude, and then I'm going to nose down a little bit to gain a little speed once I get a little altitude, and then we'll bring that notch of flaps in. Alright, now we will start to gain some speed. Flaps in. I do believe they're in. No, they're not in. They're still out. There they go. Alright, now we're gaining some speed. Go ahead and engage the autopilot here. Autopilot is engaged. You'll see our flight director there. That's telling me what the autopilot is doing. We're climbing. We're passing 1,100 feet, climbing at 3,000 feet. I'm going to hit the nav button. That's going to put us on our course here. We're a little bit to the left, so it's going to take us over to the right just a little bit. Now we're just kind of cruising. We're just monitoring our speed, monitoring our throttle inputs and everything, monitoring our fuel trim. And we are looking good. Go ahead and click the flight level change button, and that is going to make sure that we don't blow past our 3,000 feet. It's going to level me off automatically at 3,000 feet. So I'm going to click the flight level change mode. You'll see it kind of wobble a little bit while it engages there. So what the flight level change mode does is it basically tells the plane to climb or descend to your preset altitude. Mine is preset to 3,000, so it's going to climb us to 3,000, and it is going to maintain whatever speed I have set. So if I had it set to 102 knots or whatever, the plane is going to pitch at whatever pitch it needs to maintain that speed. So if you don't have, it's not auto throttle or anything like that. So if you tell it to flight level change and you tell it to climb at 100 knots, but you haven't input enough throttle for the plane to climb at 100 knots, it's not going to do it. We've been at full throttle for a minute now, so I'm going to go ahead and remove some of that throttle just to bring our RPMs down a little bit. And then now you'll see the plane is having a little bit less steep of a climb because we don't have the throttle now. So I can tell it to reduce the speed at which it climbs, and that will allow it to climb climb at a higher pitch, so because it doesn't have to maintain as high of a speed. So we're climbing through 2400 right now, on our way to 3000, picking up a little bit of wind here, no big deal. So once we get to 3000, I'll tell you guys how I came to acquire this ProFlight yoke system. Because I didn't buy it. Hint, wink, wink, hint. It's having a little bit of a hard time climbing, so I'm going to go ahead and tell it to climb at slightly lower speeds so you can get a little more pitch out of it. And you'll see as I'm lowering the speed here, it starts to pitch up more and more. I'm going to go ahead and remove a little bit of fuel. And the reason we remove fuel is because the higher you go, the less air there is. So I don't need as much fuel to mix with that air because I'm not getting as much air. It's windy up here. The plane's having a little bit of a hard time climbing. Go ahead and take some more speed up. Oh, it's already starting to level us off. So we've already captured our altitude hold here. The plane is going to level us off. We're at 3,000 feet. Okay, so here's the story about how I came to acquire, well, hang on, let me go ahead and get the ATC sorted out here. So
Panama approach windy boy 82 3,000 feet.
Windy boy 82 Panama approach, continue as planned. Altimeter
2974.
Windy boy 82, you are 20 miles southwest. Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect vectors visual runway 1 approach.
Oh, why is it doing this to me? I'm trying to scroll wheel on this knob and it zooms me in and out. 2974. Okay, so they changed our altimeter, so we have to climb a little bit more to hold our 3,000 feet. We're doing vectors
Maintain
for a
present
visual
heading and
runway
altitude. Expect
1
vectors
approach.
visual runway 1 approach. Windy boy 82.
So runway 1, that is going to be a compass heading of 10 degrees, which is going to be basically to the north. Okay, so we are to maintain present heading and altitude, which we are. Looks like we're getting ready to capture our 3,000 feet again. Slowly but surely. We got 20, we're off by 20 feet. Yeah, it's going slowly. Okay, so now back to the story about how I acquired this SciTech ProFlight yoke system. So, one of my favorite flight sim streamers on Twitch are the Bro Pilots. If you've never heard of Bro Pilots, go on Twitch or YouTube and look up Bro Pilots. Their names are Matt and Tony. They stream on Tuesdays and Fridays. They're pilots in real life. They both have performance ratings, and I believe Matt has his instrument rating. Tony is working on his instrument rating, I believe. So, anyway, they're just, a couple of good bros. They stream Flight Simulator on Twitch Tuesdays and Fridays. They fly planes in real life, so they have taught me a lot about flying, because I don't know, I'm not a pilot, So anyway, we're on the stream last week, we're all flying, there's like 20 people in the stream, we're all flying Flight Sim together, and one of the people watching the stream, they ask them a question, and they say, hey, I'm flying with such and such yoke system, I can't remember which one it was, because Matt and Tony both have the Alpha Bravo Honeycomb, You know, one of the newer ones, one of the really good yoke systems. So someone in the stream was asking them, you know, hey, I'm flying with such and such yoke system. If I can find a Honeycomb Bravo, should I switch? Is it really that good? And Tony comes back with, yes, it's really that good. The other flight yoke system that you're talking about is okay, but it's garbage in my opinion. He said he said I used to have one. He said, as a matter of fact, I still have it. It's sitting over in the corner of my room over here, and I'm about to throw it away. That's how garbage it is. And I'm like, wow, you're just gonna throw that thing away? Like, it can't be that bad. Like, it still works, right? And so, just on a whim, I throw a comment out there, and I'm like, hey, Tony, man, if you're really gonna throw that thing away, why don't you just send it to me, man? Like, I'm over here playing Flight Sim with an Xbox controller, and most everybody else in the stream has a yoke system, you know? So if you're really gonna throw that thing away, why don't you just mail it to me, man? I don't care if it's broken, I will fix it, you know? It's gotta be better than an Xbox controller, you know? And I just threw it out there expecting him to just kind of laugh it off, you know? But he comes back with, okay, sure, I'll send it to you. You know, direct message me, give me your address, and I'll mail it to you. And I was like dumbfounded. I didn't know what to say. I was like, wow, man, you're actually gonna send that to me? That's awesome. So literally like 3 days later, it shows up at my doorstep. You know, and I don't know these guys personally. You know, I'm just a frequent watcher of their Bro Pilot stream. You know, I'm usually there every Tuesday and Friday. So if you guys hop in a stream with Bro Pilots on Twitch or YouTube or whatever, you know, on Tuesday or Friday, you'll see old Wounded Leopard in there as well. So that is the story about how I acquired this Pro Flight yoke system completely for free. Tony is such a bro, he just mailed me his old yoke system because he wasn't going to use it. So shout out to Tony, shout out to Bro Pilots. You know, I couldn't be more thankful. My girlfriend and I, she made a special card and I mailed it to Tony. So Tony should be getting that in a few days. Hopefully he'll like it. So yeah, I couldn't be more happy. And then, like I said, after like 2 flights with it, I went ahead and did that rubber band mod that Tony also told me about. You know, he was like, hey man, that yoke system, there's a bunch of mods on YouTube. You know, I wouldn't have known to even think about modding this thing if Tony hadn't tipped me off about the mod. So, you know, I'm still like in disbelief that I'm sitting here looking at this thing. And it works good. It works pretty good, I must say. So we're flying through some rain. We can't really see a whole lot. Here we are in the sky. Our Cessna Skyhawk. Flying through the clouds. Having a good time. Go check out the rainbow. Double rainbow, as a matter of fact. That's that. So I'm playing on all the live settings. I'm playing Bing real world maps.
Airport is 9 miles at your 12 o'clock. Descend and maintain 2,000 feet. Report runway in sight.
Yes. Descend and maintain 2,000 report runway in sight. Airport is 9 miles at my 12 o'clock. Okay, so altitude set to 2,000. We're going to do a flight level change. And you'll see it's not really going to do anything because I told it to flight level change and we're descending, but I haven't changed my throttle settings. So the plane can't really descend at this speed because if the plane tries to nose down and descend, it's going to gain speed. But I've already told it to descend and maintain a specific speed, so it can't do that. So you'll see it's just not doing anything. So I have to now remove some throttle so that it has some speed to lose so that it can descend and maintain the speed that we have told it. Now you'll see we're descending at about 350. I'm going to go ahead and try to make it about 400 or 500 feet per minute. You'll see our runway down here. We're actually about to overshoot it, but I was wanting to take you guys around and show you guys the towers and stuff, get them down out of the clouds so that we can see it. And because we're going to be deviating from our IFR flight plan, they're probably going to cancel me. So basically, I'm just going to go ahead and cancel it myself so they don't yell at me.
Panama approach Windy Boy A2 would like to cancel IFR.
Windy Boy 82 IFR flight plan is canceled. Radar service
Now we need to
terminated.
squawk 7,000.
Squawk 7000. Maintain VFR. Frequency change approved.
7,000. Okay, so now we need to request an airspace
Panama
transition.
approach Windy Boy A2 is type Cessna, Skyhawk 1 mile southwest of Mike.
I'm going to exit nav mode and select heading mode because in order to take you guys to those towers and stuff, we need to make a right turn.
Windy Boy 82 Panama approach. Squawk 0444.
Alright, so now we're going to be turning on the heading. Now we have to squawk 0444.
0444 Windy Boy A2.
Windy Boy 82
Zero,
radar contact 1 mile northwest of Lake Papa Papa Alpha 2,100 feet. Cleared through the Charlie airspace.
Alright, so we're cleared through the Charlie airspace. Maintain our own navigation. Okay, so now we're good.
Cleared through the Charlie airspace, Windy Boy A2.
Let's see where we're at on our VFR map here. Is it going to even show me the... Oh, that actually wasn't our runway that we passed. That was actually the Air Force base we were talking about. Ha! I'm glad I noticed that. Would have been trying to land there on accident. So it doesn't look like 2,000 feet is going to get us out of the clouds. So I'm going to go ahead and descend down to 1,500 and see if that does it. On these gauges up a little bit so I can see them down here. We actually need to change this because we are at 1,800. So as you can see, I can't. Doesn't look like 1,500 feet is going to get us out of these clouds either. Wow. Okay, so let's go to 1,000 feet. Quick flight level change again. Looks like we're out over the water. I'm going to go ahead and make a left turn and get back over the land here. We should be about where the towers and everything are once we get back over the land here. Maybe that's why we can't get out of the clouds, because the clouds are sitting down closer to the water. Oh, look, there's some daylight. Let's take a look outside. We're all up in the clouds. You can actually like see the rain sheets in the clouds. Go ahead and continue our left turn here. Oh, look, there's the towers right in front of us. Are we gonna run right into them? Yeah, it looks like we might run right into that one. Let's go ahead and make another left turn here. So there's a neat view of some buildings and stuff there. Some tall skyscrapers. Wow, these clouds are literally all the way to the ground. So I believe it said this was Panama. That's a cool looking building right back there. All these cool buildings. Looks like we're about to fly right into the tower here. What are we doing? Turn. Buzzing the tower. Totally illegal. Right over the top of the building. Look at those graphics, y'all. And this isn't even as high as it'll go. I just have it on high end. There's another double rainbow. Check that out. I kind of want to go back and check out these buildings a little more. Let's go ahead and make a right turn. Go ahead and check out Panama a little bit more before we go land. So we're in heading mode. I'm just adjusting my heading in the autopilot. We are maintaining 1,000 feet. Didn't make a sharp enough turn. Now it looks like we're going to be flying right through the city. See a whole lot from this view. We didn't exactly pick the best weather day to go check out the city, huh? Make sure we don't hit this building. Yeah, check that out. That's cool. The spiral. I've never seen a building like that before. That is cool. That's a neat looking building as well. Alright, now we just need to go find our airport again. map in a little bit here so we can see better where we're at. And it looks like our runway is right off to our right. Down in there somewhere. I see a blinking light. That's probably near where we can go. That's a cool looking road coming out of that water. That's an interesting choice of why would you need to drive around all the way around? Just go right across. I don't understand that. Okay, so can we now, let's retry with our last IFR plan and see if they direct us towards the airport. I could probably find it in Venus or in the clouds. This is what you normally do in real life.
Windy Boy 82 is clear to Gillibert Airport as filed. Squawk 0444.
Yeah, we are already squawking 0444.
Windy Boy 82 cleared to Gillibert Airport as filed. Squawk 0444.
Windy Boy 82 read back correct. Radar contact 1,000 feet. Altimeter 29.7.
This is telling us to climb and maintain 3,000. I don't necessarily want to do
3,000 feet.
but we need to turn right at a heading of 040.
Turn right heading 040. Proceed on course 5
So,
and maintain
let's go
3,000
ahead
feet.
and
Windy
do
Boy
that.
82.
Windy
There's
Boy 82, you are
3.
4 miles south. Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect vectors visual runway 1 approach.
Visual runway 1. Why are they giving us a visual approach in this weather? That would not be happening IRL. There's our runway coming into view right there. I'm gonna go ahead and disengage the autopilot.
Windy Boy 82,
I am the
your
captain
last
now.
transmission.
Flight director can go off. We're gonna acknowledge our assigned approach.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect vectors. Visual runway 1 approach. Windy Boy 82.
I'm gonna go ahead and reduce speed. Gonna bring in 1 notch of flaps. You can see our runway and our PAPI lights right down here. We're a little high on this approach. We're coming in kind of fast, so I am off the throttle completely. We're basically a glider at this point. Second notch of flaps can come in.
$500.
Need to add a little bit of throttle back. We got 2 red, 2 white on the PAPI lights, which is exactly what we want to see here. Landing flaps can come in now. We are flaps full.
Windy
Coming
Boy
in
82,
high
please
still.
expedite your climb to 3,000 feet.
See, they're still telling me to climb. Let's see how this landing goes with my yoke system. Go ahead and flare just a little bit. There's touchdown and nose wheels down. Flaps can come in now. Are the flaps in? All the flaps are in. And our throttle is cut. Mixture is back to full. And we're here, guys. So that was a short little flight to Panama. We flew over an Air Force base that we didn't get to see because of the clouds. We got a visual approach for runway 1 in the clouds, which would not probably happen in real life. But we made it nonetheless. Thank goodness for synthetic vision here so that I could see the runway in here, you know, so you could see you can see the road and everything with the synthetic vision. If you didn't have synthetic vision, all you would really see is green down here and blue up here. Go ahead and vacate this runway. And then I'll show you guys real quick what you would see if you did not have the synthetic vision and how much it would help you to have synthetic vision. You always want to aileron left when you're turning left and aileron right when you're turning right. That way if there's any wind and stuff, it helps keep you from flipping over if you try to take a turn too fast. So let's see if I can show you guys real quick what this thing would look like without synthetic vision, because you can see how we can see the road and the line and everything. So if we go to, is it PFD? Send viz. Okay, so that's off. So see, now this is all you would see, no matter what the terrain is below you. This is all you would see the entire time. So that would make it a lot harder, because now you actually have to be able to see outside your plane. But with the synthetic vision, it gives you a much more accurate representation of what you're seeing outside the plane. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and park it right over here by these fellers. Alright, y'all, we are here. Parking brake is set. Avionics can go off. Nav lights off. Pitot heat off. Landing lights off. Beacon is off. We will cut the fuel. It will cut the engine. And it doesn't even let me get to actually turn everything off before it, tells me I'm done. So that's the video, guys. Like it if you liked it. Drop a subscribe if you want to know when I post new videos. And thanks for watching.